What's going on Twitch and YouTube? Welcome to episode 9 of my Starship Evo U.S.S. Revengeance. I just want to thank you very much for tuning in to today's video, and if you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me and supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Today we have about a 28-minute video. We're going to be working on the outside of the bridge area a little bit, and then we're going to be going down into the inside of the bridge, working on fleshing that out and prepping that to build out the full interior of the bridge. And then we're going to wrap it up with detailing out um, some more on the engines. So we're going to be working on a couple little different areas today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it because we got kind of a long one on this one. So right off rip, on the sides of the bridge, I got rid of the, excuse me, slopes, and we're going with the triangle block slope on the sides. Now, one of my reasons why I'm doing this, and that what I just did there, I'm going to take away. We're going to be stretching those blocks out, because I want to get a little bit more detail on the side of the ship here, because I like the base design of it, but it needs a little bit of texturing to it. I think it looks too plain, you know. And at this point, building this area of the ship, I'm not going off of anything. I mean, I kind of loosely like this area is somewhat like the Vengeance, but um, really, other than the fact that they have a cutout, the center of the saucer being cut out, that's the only similarity between the two. The bridge area is loosely somewhat the same shape of it, especially what I'm going to be changing now. It's going to make it drastically different. And my only goal at this point is just trying to get some cool, slick lines on the side that fit with what I've done with the rest of the ship so far. Because, remember, the whole point of this is that we're trying to build an equivalent to an Enterprise stealth fighter slash battle cruiser. You see, I'm just manipulating the blocks here until I get a pattern that I like. That looks pretty solid, actually. And it's different too. Like, I don't know, that's so simple, but just that alone right there, gives a little bit something. And it's real sleek. I like that. Those cuts in the side, definitely reminds me of like a stealth fighter. Exactly what we're going for. This is something that you can definitely apply to your builds too. If you're watching this, get inspiration. I just mess with different things until I come up with a building combination, something that I like. I've often found that 9 times out of 10, you just got to throw something down, see how it looks, and if it looks good, run with it. If it doesn't, take it down until it does. So anyway, we're going to be adding in our front window here on the bridge. I was going to try to stretch this all the way across, but I think I'm just going to stop it at the middle. I've already got my symmetry tool in place to work easier on this build. So I definitely encourage doing for those of you building this ship or any ship on Starship Evo, that symmetry tool really does save a heck of a lot of time in the building process. If I would have done this on any other building games, it would have taken a lot longer, just because of the fact that I would have had to have built both sides. All right, I got the right block. I just got to stretch that back a little bit. There we go. Fix that because I was trying to match everything up, and we don't have a ton of room on the inside, but we're just going to be cleaning up on the inside of the bridge area a little bit here. So this way, when we come back in to fully flesh out the bridge area, a lot of it's been done. But as you can see, we don't have a lot of room on this build to work with. But you would be surprised. This is actually just enough room that we can build a bridge and we can build a pretty cool looking hallway leading up to the bridge. You see I'm just cleaning up my sides there. I think I'm going to do the same thing, maybe going along this corner here, bring that all the way back. But we've got this opening. We'll add a staircase going all the way down to the lower hall. Not a huge area, but enough space where we can actually add a couple of decks down here. So even though we're not going to be building in the saucer outside of the middle of it, we still have room in the lower hall that we can do some cool things with this build. Believe it or not, this is actually my biggest build to date on Starship Evo. Definitely working my way up to build other bigger ships, and going to be doing probably Federation ships on Starship Evo in the near future. Haven't had too many requests lately, but for if you have any suggestions on ships that you want to see me build or anything nerd related in general, drop a comment below. Um, Definitely would love to hear from you. And the majority of the builds that I do on my YouTube channel and Twitch channel have come from suggestions from the community. So definitely drop those comments. You know, even if I don't reply back to you, I save those messages for later so I can look at the comments to see what requests people are asking. And I go by the top requests on what builds to do next. So definitely drop those comments below, and I definitely appreciate it. Um, the Revengeance is a bit of a remix for those of you that are just tuning into this series for the first time, maybe. Um, I really blended this together with a couple of ships, um, but it's been a lot of fun. And right now, I do want to talk a little bit about this. We're actually up in the saucer section, getting a little bit back to what we got going on here. You can see I'm adding thrusters inside of it. And I'm doing this for a reason because um, even though it's not very practical, you never see any thrusters on Federation ships. They're there, but you can't see them. You know, um, so that's definitely something we have to take into consideration if we're doing something like this. So only thing that we can really do at that point, if we want to try to stay true to it, is hide it. So that's the primary function at this point. That the sides, the leftover areas on my saucer that I'm going to use it for is just to house extra thrusters instead of I could be wrong on this because I'm not an expert on Starship Evo. I'm still kind of new to this game, but I found that having a lot of these smaller ones as opposed to just the really big ones, I've had more maneuverability with it anyway. But I've also found at the same time, but I've needed a ton of these things in different sections of the saucer, lower hull, to make sure that I have any type of decent maneuverability. Otherwise, you know, this thing is going to take a really long time to turn, you know. So that's something that I've kind of learned over a period of time of building on here. The more thrusters you have, the better off you're going to be. Unless it's a really small build. If it's a really small build, you can get away with having less thrusters. But the scale of it, this thing's so large, just requires this many thrusters um, to really get this thing going. Now, we're not going to sit here the whole time and do this. I'm actually going to skip ahead on this. Been making a point on my other tutorial series that when things are getting too repetitive that I don't show it, but this is actually some older footage from before when I recorded. So I do promise you that my tutorials are getting better, but this was an older video that I recorded a while ago. I'm just not able to get a ton of them out because right now I'm just doing Starship Evo builds, the videos weekly, and that doesn't allow me to get a ton of content out for this thing right now because I'm just kind of waiting for them to do a little bit more with the game. I did see that they had an update out to extend the galaxy map. I watched a video today on it a little bit, but I didn't really get a chance to get too much into it. But it looks like they were. I don't know if you've had a chance to mess with the galaxy map so far. It has a top-down view. You can actually go in and see more of a 3D area where you can click on a solar system and it'll go in, and that looks pretty cool. But definitely waiting for them to add a little bit more with it. I want more of a reason to hop on here. Hopefully they'll make it in the near future where we can actually visit other planets. That'll be pretty legit. Um, I can't wait for them to add hostable servers on here because I'll be all over it. All right, so I'm actually going to throw down a chair, a pilot cockpit chair right now, and I'm going to throw down the steering wheel. This is just going to be temporary right now to test stuff out, but we are going to fully flesh out the bridge. The only thing this ship is not going to have is a turbo lift, and that's something I'm definitely going to be working to implement into my builds once I figured out how to do it. Um, I'll also put a tutorial up. If anybody has already got a tutorial up on stuff like that, and I may not, I gotta be honest, I'm not aware of it. Drop a comment below, let me know where it's at, and I'll definitely check it out. And I appreciate that, because I definitely really like this game. I love the building mechanics on here. There's a lot of cool things that you can do. Um, I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do after this ship, though. You know, there's a lot of cool things that we can do. This reactor that we're throwing down, this is just temporary. We're actually going to end up completely reworking this. Yeah, we're going to rework all of that when we really start getting into the interior. We're really, like I've said, today we're really just prepping that out. So when we come back, um, we can do it. Today is just a test flight, just to test everything out, make sure that I can move the ship around, make sure that has the basic components in it, and then after that, move on to the next couple of things. I don't think we're going to get into everything today because there's really no need to move the ship around. What I'm actually going to do is move the reactor into the engines, which isn't actually a bad idea when you think about it. And I've noticed this too. I don't know if anyone else has had the same problem with this, but the smaller reactors you have, you obviously can't jump that far across the galaxy. So that's one of the reasons why I'm building this ginormous reactor going down my engine, because I want to try to get the maximum power that I can to go as longest distance that I possibly can, and also throw in a couple of thrusters in the engines as well. Figured might as well. We're not going to be able to see it on the outside. Doesn't look the prettiest on the inside, but for this specific build, we don't have to make it look pretty. So we can just kind of throw it anywhere. Now, if this were a build where we had it to a scale where we'd be walking into the engines, I would say that would be a different story, and then we got to go and we got to, make it organized, make it look pretty, and figure out like a blueprint that we can either reference off of or come up with the design to build an interior layout for the engines. But we don't really have to mess with that for this build. We don't have the room to get up into this area, so there's no point in really building anything out, and we're going to be using the space for something else. This is more or less for me anyway, a glorified test and trying to get more experience in building out bigger ships. Because at this point, like I was saying earlier in the build, this is my biggest ship to date that I've done so far. And all right, we've got motion, but I can already see it. I'm going to need way more thrusters. Because it's moving, but we're just not moving very fast. So we're going to need to do some stuff and things to that. But that's okay. At least we're a step in the right direction. This is actually going to require a ton of thrusters to get to a point of where we need to be. We're not doing too bad. We've already gone through the first 16 minutes of this episode. We have about 12 minutes to go. We're on the back side of our engines. I think I'm going to close up this hole. I've gone 3 blocks back on the third one is where I put that line in. I'm just doing a large thruster. Doing this for 2 reasons back here. 1, just to make it look pretty, and 2, to get some extra push between our maneuvering thrusters and our larger ones. We should be pretty good. We have way more to add though. But this is, like I said, that back there is mostly a cosmetic more than anything else. Okay, so got our reactors in place. We've got some thrusters down, but we're going to need to add way more thrusters in here. So we're moving into the last part of today's episode. We're going to be getting some more detail done on the exterior of our ship, specifically on the engines. Always want to make sure you have your symmetry tool in place. I didn't for as part of the capture, so I want to make sure I reactivated that. Now, if you're looking for the source material for this bit of detailing that I'm about to do, if you end up liking it, I actually just went on Google and I did a search for Star Trek Discovery Section 31 ships. And I've talked about this in my other episodes, but I picked those ships, excuse me, picked those ships specifically for Section 31 because I felt like they captured what an experimental ship should look like during TOS. Because when you really think about it, so it's like, okay, Section 31, it's experimental. They're going to have stuff that everyone else doesn't have. They're probably going to be at least 10 years ahead of everyone else. So it would make sense that their ships and their engines look 10 years into the future. So to me, it would just be logical at that point where you would start taking elements out of the motion picture Enterprise refit, because that would basically be the ship that or the technology that they're building towards. That's one of the reasons I didn't like the Vengeance, um, because I didn't feel like they captured the period of Star Trek. They didn't stay true to it or anything, you know. And I think that if they took that same care that they take with Star Wars, you know, and applied those things, I think it would have looked a lot better. Because I mean, those engines on those Section 31 ships from Discovery, I mean, they look great. Not all the ships from Discovery look good. Some of them, there's something to be desired, but um, I'll be the first one to admit they have actually made some pretty cool looking ships on that show, and I'm thankful for it because a lot of the cues I'm taking and implementing them on my engines, and it's just so different. Like what I'm doing with these blocks here, the patterning, it's it's very basic, but like I don't know, I can't really describe it, but like it just has like a cool techie look to it. And we're not going to be doing blocks going all the way down. I'm pretty much just eyeing this out and seeing how it looks. But the 4 blocks like that side by side, that's on the side of the engines on the Section 31 ship, and it has a little bit more detailing here that we're about to add on in just a moment. Definitely like what we have so far. Doesn't look bad. It's not taking away from anything. which I'd say is definitely one of the number one things you want to look at when you're detailing your ship. You know, the stuff that you're adding, is it enhancing the build? Is it making it look better? Or is it taking it away, or is it taking away from, you know, an area that you're trying to show? I think in this case, what we're adding, it's definitely enhancing it a little bit, and it has a very basic look to it, you know. Um, but at the same time, I think that makes it look kind of futuristic in a sense too, you know. Excuse me. Like I said, we're gonna be playing with this thing a lot because this is really, you know, just looking at four different ships right now for a reference, and picking and choosing the best elements to maybe incorporate into the build, and a couple of my own ideas here and there. I made that double wide. Shouldn't have done that. Let's go back and fix that. All right, we're looking good. We're about to start doing some striping going along the side. Section 31 ships have it from Discovery. And then also, of course, the side of the engines on Constitution refit hat, or the Constitution class refit from the Shatner movies has it as well. Kind of like the grills on the side. I'm not gonna lie, I was tempted to have the lights going inside the grill, but that single strip that looks like, you know, like an LED strip going down the side. I think it looks very different. I like it. You see, I'm just doing one gap in between. I'm going to bring this almost all the way down. We're going to end cap it with the slope. We'll flip it upside down. We'll stretch it out to make it match the shape of the cut going along the sides. And I'll show you here in just a moment how to do that. Actually, just want to thank everybody. Take a moment to thank everyone for tuning in to today's episode. Actually, we're up to 500 subscribers. I can't believe it. Feels like definitely been a long road to get here, but I hope everybody has been enjoying the content that I've been putting out for you. Definitely take a lot of time to try to provide the best videos that I can with the best builds that I can possibly do. Definitely wouldn't say that I'm the best builder or one of the best builders on Starship Evo and Minecraft, but I've got my own little steps that I follow and things that I do that I think these things come out well enough that people watch it and they're into it. So hopefully you've tuned into this video and you learned something, but more importantly, you had a little bit of fun in building. Um, it's definitely something I don't think that too many people really um, embrace these days, and building can really help take your mind off stuff. See, with this build, it has it consumed a good portion of my time when I was working on it. I've actually already completed this build, and if you want to check this out, just go on Steam and under the workshop for Starship Evo, search Zero Elite or search the U.S.S. Revengeance. I should have a link below as well for the finished ship. All right, we're actually, I think we can bring that right up to there. But the next one, we're going to have to stop maybe a row or two beforehand. But yeah, see, that's coming, starting to look nice on the sides there. Yeah, I never thought that we'd have this many people on the YouTube channel at this point, but I definitely appreciate everybody that's watching these videos. We're doing pretty good. We're making pretty good time with this build too. Um, we still actually have a lot of work to do on it, and if you are enjoying this video, if you can help me out, hit that like and subscribe button. I definitely appreciate it. And there's still more to come on the U.S.S. Revengeance. We're not done detailing this thing. yeah, we could walk away and say we're done, but I think that there's more stuff to do on this build, and there's a lot of little things that you can do to flesh your ship out to make it look really cool. Is you got to think, if you think about it this way, we've we've basically created the template. We've got a base design to work with. Now it's all about fleshing it out and making it come to life. See, that looks pretty good. Let's go up a row. I think I'm gonna have to redo that row right there because I brought it out too far. I think that might be a good point to stop at. It's not letting me. Looks pretty good. At this point, I'm just literally eyeballing it to see what looks good to basically start that upside down slope. But I'm trying to make it match up with the hull line. Yeah, see that looks pretty solid. Just that little addition right there really makes a difference on the engines. You can leave the engines just like that, I think, and I don't think anyone would bat an eye at it. But we're not. We still have more work to do on this thing. But I think that's actually going to wrap it up for us today. Just want to thank everybody again who tuned in to today's episode. If you did enjoy this content, please help me out and hit that like and subscribe button. I definitely appreciate it. And also in helping me and supporting the channel. Uh, Definitely means a lot to me. And also, don't forget, you can always catch my new Twitch stream Sundays through Thursdays. Those videos typically drop between 9 and 10 p.m. Eastern, and you can catch that at twitch.tv/Zero Elite. And also, don't forget you can catch my new YouTube videos dropping Mondays for Starship Evo and Tuesdays through Fridays for Minecraft. Those videos drop at 10 a.m. Eastern. You can always catch them at youtube.com/C/Zero Elite. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for me. I just want to thank everybody again for tuning into today's video. I hope everybody has a happy and safe week, and I will catch you on the next episode.